Okay, welcome back to part two. Obviously, first job, I'm going to go straight in with it really. So, first job, we've obviously got to strip this back and get the holes drilled in, and then we can mark the holes in the actual pig tip and work out where we go from there. So listen, let's just get this off. Okay. As you probably remember from the first part of the video, obviously we marked the actual holes where they're going to go. Obviously 6mm in and then 20mm to the next hole. So this is what we'll do. We'll get you reset up and we'll get over to the drill press and get these holes done. Back in a minute. Okay, so we've got the holes in there now. So what we can do is line up the actual pick tip and exactly where we're going to need it. And let me just make sure we're going to be fine there. Because once we've got these holes in, we can get their pins in, and then obviously everything starts to get a little bit more rigid, and we can get everything sorted out from there. This is the last really sort of, that's good, I like that. Okay, so what I do is just get a scribe and just scribe the holes in. Okay, and then we've got our holes there, and then we get a marker. Okay, so we've punched the holes in and got all the little burrs sorted out there. So what we can do, we can eye this up, get that in there, make sure the holes are going to be perfect, and I've just quickly cut the actual pins. Hopefully they're going to go in there nicely. Okay, that's good, that's one. And second one, hopefully. There you go, lovely. And now we've got a real kind of solid pig. That is, we can actually sort of start getting all the rest of the bits and pieces shaped and get the actual pick looking into exactly how it's going to be. So yeah, so what we'll do, we'll go over to where I do all the sanding, and we'll start sanding this bad boy. Okay, so we'll start working on the top part now of the pick. Okay, that's going to look pretty good actually, so we just need to take a little bit more of the bottom. Okay, so where I do most of the actual finishing of the pick tips, I find this little jeweler's sort of vice thing, I don't know what it is, it works an absolute treat. Okay, so we've got a nice little sort of shallow hook there, which I think will be very effective and an awful lot of locks. And I've gone kind of quite slim there, just tapered it down from there. So we've got quite a thin tip, but we've still got absolutely superb strength because of the absolutely fantastic Law Lock Tools stainless steel. So yeah, so I think we're nearly ready to start getting the actual final part and getting it sanded down a little bit and just getting any little imperfections out of it. So what we'll do, we'll go back over to the bench and we'll go from there. Okay, so as you can see, we're back over by the bench now, and of course we've got a very nice looking pick tip there, but of course we need to get all the little rough edges out and start getting this thing polished up. So what I tend to use is start off with 600 grit paper and a cork sanding block, and then we start. Okay, Okay, so we're at 1,000. Okay, so it's starting to come up. That's on 1,000 now. So it's looking pretty. Starting to see a nice little shine on there now. Okay, so it's looking pretty good now. That's at 1,000. So what we'll do, we'll get it up to 1,500. Okay, 1,500. Okay, as you can see, we're looking nice smooth edges, no rough parts anywhere. What I tend to do just before we go to the buffing wheel is just fold this over, press this like this. As you can see, we're getting pretty near having a really nice finish on that from the sandpaper. And what we do, I think we'll get reset up by the actual buffing wheel. Okay, so obviously going to get pretty noisy, but as you see, this is just with the 1500 grit. So I just use a buffing wheel on the Dremel and some obviously polishing compound. Okay, so let's see what this comes out like. As you'll see, we'll have an absolutely fantastic finish on this. You can see by there, it just comes up absolutely beautifully. Just with working on it for probably 5 minutes or so. Okay, so this is what we do. We get back over the bench and we get this taped up so we don't get any scratches in it. You see, beautiful finish in that. Okay, back in a minute. Okay, I couldn't actually see it properly through the camera in the last picture, last part of the video, but yeah, as you can see, we've got a beautiful finish on that, which is just exactly what you need. Absolutely wonderful. I'm very happy with that. Okay, listen, what we do, we get the pick over and we will slot it in. Just stick the pins in. The pin's going to be absolutely tip top. Okay, so as you can see, it's going to be pretty good there. We've got a little bit of work to do on the top there, but we can finish that off afterwards. Pretty good round there. By the time we actually just take a little bit off, that's fine. Okay, just what we do, I'm quite happy with that actually. As you can see, it's going to look pretty wonderful as well. Okay, what we do is get the tape over and we will tape it up again. Okay, that's the pick tip protected. Okay, so we are now ready to rough up the actual piece that actually goes through the actual backside of the actual pick. All this bit here I just rough up once again with the Dremel, just so we get a really good bind on the actual epoxy. So this one we'll be back over to the Dremel. Okay, so we're just going to rough up all the bits and pieces here to make sure we get a good Okay, so as you can see, we're all roughed up there, and make sure we get a really good bond on that. Okay, back over to the bench. Okay, so we're ready to epoxy now. So let's get some tape. Let's take that there. Obviously, it's not so much the actual top and bottom part, but this part here, once the actual epoxy's in there, it's all glued up and everything. It's very hard to actually sort of get a nice finish there. So this is what I do. I tend to tape it up. Okay, so let's get some glue going. I just use this little mixer. This is important, obviously making sure it's mixed properly. You don't want to having any bits that are not going to set properly after all the hard work you've done. Okay, here we go then. Let's just get that spread on there. Okay, obviously we've got to try and get all the epoxy actually in to where the actual pick tip's going to go. So what I tend to do is just give it a good old run around. Okay. Okay, let's get the pins. what I tend to do is just try and get as much of the excess off as possible. Okay, and then we get some clamps and clamp it up. Okay, that's good. Nice and tight. Okay, a bit of residue just come out there, it's fine, not a problem. That bit will clean up nicely. And there we go. I will catch up with you part 3.